All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 74. I missed you guys. Thank you, everybody who came back to see me, even though I've been on a little bit of a hiatus. Back and forth the last 5 weeks. Sorry about the lack of podcast episodes, but today we have a special episode for you. One of my oldest friends, Rare Extracts, is going to be joining me today. I'm really excited to talk to him and talk about old stories and when I used to grow and process for me. I want to hear about his experience working in the Oklahoma legal cannabis market, a bunch of different things. So it should be a fun conversation. We do have a Sunday sale today in a few hours. If you're watching this at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time when it drops, then a few hours later we'll be having the Sunday sale. We were going to do one giant sale at the end of October, but it was a lot of work on my guys, like shipping everything. Last time we did a massive drop like that, so we're splitting this drop up into two parts. So if you want to be part of that drop and stay up to date on everything going on, make sure you go to my website, bmsglass.com, sign up for our newsletter. That way you get email notifications about everything we're doing over here. And my God, does it feel good to be back in my studio, smoking hash. I got a slurper. So I've been getting violently high, just a little bit scared and confused because it literally gets me so stoned. But I'm going to take this one at a lower temp. I've been honestly taking these on my dab right at about 430, 450, somewhere in there. There's just so much surface area. These things fucking vaporize it so well. Where's my topper marble? Fuck it. Let's use this. Let's move this out of the way. Get that. Get on there. Wow. Oof. That works surprisingly well. And while we're at it, guys, you're not going to believe this. But we got sponsored by Ridge Wallet. I know I've said a million times, go to Liquid IV, use my promo code, and I'm faking it, but this one's real. You can use promo code RBR at ridgewallet.com to get 10% off your order. I'm stoked on it. Matches my car. I've slimmed it down. I've had a big fat wallet for years, sitting on it, being uncomfortable. This thing is so thin and comfortable, and I don't know, I really like the look of it. It's really modern but simple, and that's what I like. Stoked that these guys wanted to work with me. They reached out to us. Hopefully this is how they wanted me to show off their product. Maybe we'll lose the sponsorship as quick as we got it. I do not know, but either way, I saw someone shoot one with a bullet, so I was like, fuck it, you can take a dab with one, right? But yeah, make sure you guys check out Ridge Wallet and use promo code RBR to get that discount. And before I get any more stoned, before my guest gets here, let's take a break, and we'll be right back with our guest, Rare Extracts. Thank you so much, everybody.
Kind of have to like let go of like for a long time I thought I was Rare Extracts. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm the guy, and it like hit me. I was like, I'm not the fucking guy. Like if I want this to be a thing that's gonna outlast me and be better than me, and like all of the things that I've seen these guys like who have been more accomplished be able to understand, and it's like, okay, you built something, but now it's time to like let that mofo just sail. Like it's time to put that thing in the water, and like you could still be on the boat. Yeah. The boat's not going to go by without a whole crew.
Oh, no, I can relate with that so much. That everything you just said is essentially the philosophy of what I've been trying to do with Bear Mountain Studios. It's why, like, people are like, why didn't you do an artist name? Because, like, I started Bear Mountain before I had, like, the They Did It Instagram, and that was just, like, where I'd smoke weed and shit. Like, it's not, like, a company Instagram or anything.
Same here.
But I was like, in order for, like, this to really grow to the potential I want it to grow, because it's not even a money thing. There's lots of ways to make money. There's easier ways to make money. But
that's true.
It's more about, like, having something I can be proud of at the end of the day. Like I can like walk into my building and see all the equipment I've worked hard to invest in, see like something functioning and delivering a product that I'm proud that this gets to be part of people's day-to-day life. How cool is that? Like when people like get home from work and they're stressed out, they want to grab that RBR and take their first dab and relax on the couch. Like I want to be part of that equation and ritual in the day-to-day life of human beings.
Yeah.
So like, but that whole philosophy of like teams and stuff, I went through that for years too, because like I didn't get my first employee was Cormac. He started here in like 2018 October, and now I have my dude Brandon. He's been here for over 2 years now. But it was so hard for me to like actually get people on the team, even though that was my philosophy. Like it was almost like I knew what I wanted to do, but me on a personal level, I had a hard time. I'm like, is it going to devalue me? Is it going to like, is it going to make people assume that like I don't work hard and that other people just do all the work? Like, and then I had to realize I have to stop caring about what other people want to assume about me, and I have to focus on my goal and love what I'm doing. And that's it. Because no matter what you do, people are going to assume things. They're going to be like, oh, they see a post, oh, he doesn't work all the time. Other people make his shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, no one makes my shit, but I have prep guys. Just like a chef left prep cooks, cutting the onions, cutting the peppers. I don't cut the onions or peppers anymore. I just make the dish on the line. That's it. But yeah, like having a team is a huge thing, but it's really hard. It's hard to build up the because like imposter syndrome, like you were talking about, I deal with that every day still. And even when you're bringing on employees, you're like, wait, do I know enough to like even tell them what the fuck to do? Like, I know what works for me. It's like, it's almost like when you're making hash, I'm sure like, yes, of course there's a formula, but you could do it with your eyes closed. It's like your art form. It's like, your recipe is embedded into your like DNA where you can just do it. Whereas you start teaching someone, you're like, wait, hopefully, am I saying the right thing to them? They might know other terminology that I don't. Do I sound like an idiot? Like, how did I get this far?
Or am I being mean? You know?
Exactly.
I'm always worried if I'm the sandpaper, and it's like, I can explain my expectations, but how do I explain them nicely? I was raised around people from the Northeast, so they're very blunt and honest, and like sometimes the sandpaper in the room.
And the farther west you go, if you're blunt, people just take it as rude. But you're to the point
and
of saving
I've learned,
time.
From my mom that like, hey, it's like some of the people that I've done business with have like said, thank you for being honest and not wasting our time. And we didn't go into those relationships. And then there's other relationships where they also, same thing. Hey, thank you for being honest. We want to do business with you because of that. We like that you didn't beat around the bush. You cut straight to the chase, and you told us the facts of the matter. And you also told us what you won't do. And I think that a lot of people these days are always trying to please the conversation.
I said yes way too much. My first 6-7 years blowing glass, like literally until the like mid-pandemic is when I was like, wait, I gotta stop saying yes to stuff. So it was like only like a year ago.
Yeah, it's
I
even
stopped
harder.
saying yes, and my life got better, kind of.
You care about an employee, so you want to say yes all the time because you want to be that cool boss. But at the same time, it's like, man, I have to teach this person the right way to do things. And like when I'm not here, the values and ethics that I've built this brand on have to be instilled in this person as well. Not only like my routines and like my SOPs, but I really think values and ethics, and when you get to work hand in hand with an owner where it's not just like this invisible person who pseudo owns it and just like kind of comes through like Phantom of the Opera style,
Dude, like I think my thing was like I was always saying yes to like people giving me opportunity because I was like, I'm never gonna get this opportunity again. Like because I feel like such an imposter sometimes, and because like maybe like I don't feel like I always deserve what success I may have in life. I have this like weird, being raised, Catholic and going to Catholic school.
Dude.
You have this crazy like
guilt.
This weird thing that we do.
I'm never doing enough.
Yeah, exactly. Not saying that I'm Catholic or religious now. It's just like how I was raised and shit. But
definitely.
But like I have that still embedded into my DNA. So it's like for me, I would say yes to everything because I was like, wow, these people like appreciate me. I don't care if I take a loss. I just want to be part of it so that people like me.
Yep.
Dude, because like I have an older brother, but he's much older than me. I kind of grew up as an only child out in the middle of nowhere. I would literally look out the window and watch cars driving down the road and be like, oh, do you think it's someone that knows? Are they going to stop? And then they, whatever. So it was like I kind of like have all these weird things about me that makes me want to say yes to things. I want to be friends with everyone. I want people to like me. It's like, but I feel like it's normal human shit. You just want to be accepted by your tribe and then appreciated for something, and you want people to value. Be like, oh, that guy's good at doing that. We need him in the tribe.
Yep.
Like because without that, humans were nothing. We gotta be accepted.
I said that same exact thing to a friend the other day who I asked him a question about growing, and his response was, this is the answer to your question, and thank you for asking me. I really appreciate it when you holler at me for questions. And I was like, shit, man, I just hope that it's that way whenever you have questions about making hash.
Yeah.
And he goes, it already is. And that was like his response back. And I was like, man, that's cool. Like I look up to that person.
Definitely.
For their advice in growing, and like I wasn't trying to like say it like in a cocky manner, I was just saying like, man, I hope one day
like
that
I
can
give you something too, like
that I can at least give back in that regard.
Exactly.
It was pretty cool.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, man. Ever since I've gotten out of like growing, because I did a little outdoor this year, but I took like a little when my daughter got here, I shut down my grow and everything. And,
I remember.
Because I was just like, I don't like in my head I was like, I can't be like making bongs in the garage and grow weed in the basement. It'd be a great news article. But not just that, right. I knew that like with time already, I was splitting time between growing and glass, and I was like, fuck, like I wish I could have moved this fan. I forgot to move it that night because I was too busy on the torch, and now this one plant got hit with a fan too hard, or all these little things. And I started slipping. I was like, oh, I'm losing quality in my garden because I'm too busy now with glass. Then my daughter got here, and I was like, wait a minute, there's no way I can be a good dad and raise a human if I'm trying to like grow all these plants, blow glass. I mean, some people can do it, but I don't have that capability yet.
Well, and you guys are a lot like me and my wife Delaney, where like you both help each other out in the grow. And
100%.
I couldn't imagine us having a child. Like the very first thing that's going to be shut down if we get the ability or the gift of a child is like the grow. I don't know how I could put that expectation on her to help me and for me to be able to help the grow and
it's
like
hard,
balance
but you
my
cross that
business
bridge when you come to it though.
Yeah,
that's how you do it.
Exactly.
And you'd be surprised in life, like even when something sounds like it's gonna really fuck it up, like dude, I never had more success until my daughter got here, even though it's so expensive and it's been so many like intense things, but still somehow like, and I think it's because having a kid's so intense that like when it comes to your work, you don't get so hung up on each thing that fucks up.
Right.
You're almost like, just keep on moving. You're like, I'm not gonna let this fuck up my whole day. Like back like 4 or 5 years ago, I'd break something, I would be done for the day. Like, fuck glass blowing. Yeah. Or like I'd see a negative comment on Instagram, be like, fuck Instagram, the internet.
Bro.
I'm out of here. Like haters, fuck this. Like I hate this shit. But now it's like nothing gets to me. And it feels so liberating. I'm like, what is happening to me? Where anything I see negative or someone's being shitty or like I break a piece, I don't even let it get. I'm like, I can't let it get to me. It's not fair to the people inside waiting for me to come in and be a positive dad.
Yeah.
Like I can't come in I just don't want to be like you were saying, the sandpaper in the equation. Like, and anytime something gets fucked up, it's the human variant that's gonna fuck it up. It's not the equation or the machine.
Operator error.
It's operator error always.
Yeah.
Always, dude. So fucking, what's it like being in the legal cannabis market? And is it Oklahoma?
Yeah,
dude.
Yep, Oklahoma.
That's so like I would have never thought 5-6 years ago that you would see cannabis like in a state like that. Like,
yeah, and I always remind people too. First, I don't think that people remember, so I do have to remind them is that Oklahoma was one of the first states to sue Colorado when Colorado went recreational because
people were driving over the border.
Exactly, and they were like, this is fucking
drugs coming into our state, fucking Colorado.
Yeah. This is some rosin from.
Dude, I'd love to try some.
This is from Jive. That's like their. I think that's their. I think it's one of the cookies that we did.
Oh,
We've done like
beautiful.
3 or 4 different cookies washes for them, like holiday cookies. It was like Girl Scout cookies mixed with like I can't remember. We've done a couple different cookie test phenos for them.
And this is from a different company. This is not from your guys.
So we don't grow yet.
Okay. Well, you process though, right? So did you process for them?
Yep.
So this is processed by you.
Yep.
Okay.
Washed and pressed.
Yeah, because like I smelled it and looked at it and like there was like this nostalgia of like, dude, I don't know if you remember, maybe you do. You were the first person I ever saw that had like that beautiful like rosin. It looked like you could eat it. It looked like dessert. And it was at Lazy Lion in 2014 at a fucking table, a fold out plastic table. I was blowing glass and you came in, you were like, had all this crazy hash. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And like anytime I like see your hash or a smoke and it's been years, it's like instant, like there's something that everyone does that like to their own formula that kind of gives it their thing. It's like, I could tell that was processed by.
So these ones too these are not from Oklahoma. That's from Oklahoma growers, processed by us in Oklahoma. And then these ones are from here, just our personal home grow, me and my wife's. I kind of brought like a bunch of different stuff for you to taste. So it's
I love it.
This is for you to keep. I don't want you to get that mixed up.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So there's definitely a good amount of stuff here. This is from Oklahoma. That was grown. So the dude calls it
cookies.
Yeah, and it's a cut from here. He came out here to get it. It's the 14er cut that a lot of us all have and are familiar with. That's what this flower is. He grew it in what's called natural terror cultivation, which I'm new to. Like I don't know all these different terms. I grew outdoor smart pots, 40 gallon to 400 gallon.
Yep.
Greenhouses are full term. That was all I ever knew, and obviously indoor cultivation, but like all these different terms of outdoor cultivation, terror, natural terror, organic terror. And I guess
organic terror would be a stick name for a vegan metal band. But
dude, right? And terror is basically don't do shit to the ground.
Okay.
You just use the natural earth. You till it up, You plant your plants in it. You give it the natural water from a natural source, such
From
as like
that
a
local
lake
area,
or
like
river.
That way,
Yep.
it's all like working in one system of that area.
Closed loop, exactly.
Yep.
He's a closed loop cannabis farmer. His name's Matt, and his company's Wild Natives.
That's really cool.
Yep, and we get the
I
privilege
really
to process
appreciate
for
people
them.
that put all that time into like all the way down to the dirt, because like I've talked about it
yeah.
before. Like when you're smoking hash, like some people that have never grown or popped seeds or pheno hunted can really appreciate. You can't appreciate really good hash unless you've kind of dabbled in that.
Yeah.
Because it takes so much to get to the point of having that finished product that it's like, I don't know, for me, like I can see all the hard work because I've been there. I see like the person finding the genetics, then them growing it and finding the best way to dial it in, then all the time with the soils, or do we do it this way or that way? What nutrients are we using, or no nutrients? We're gonna just brew teas, and you find the formula for that. Then you find a way to extract it properly. Like, oh, it didn't do great with that. We're gonna try and run it like this, or run it like that, and then all this time, and it could take 5-6 years to finish the process and have this thing. And someone's like, why is it 80 a gram, or why is it 100 grams? And it's like, dude, this is a treat. This is not supposed to be like fast food McDonald's. You just eat it all day. This is supposed to be something that like you pop out of the fridge and you're like, I get a fucking treat right now.
Yep.
Like this is like, it's like fine wine or like whiskey or anything like that. You know, it's a connoisseur level thing. You appreciate all the way down to popping the seed and finding that rare genetic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love that shit though.
And to that note, that's kind of what this Trop Cookies hash falls under. So like Oklahoma's got a lot of really cool laws in regards of the processor's ability to do research and development for the growers. And the growers definitely need that. Like they put all this time and effort into cultivating a plant that might not do well. And you might sprout a pack of 100 seeds of the same pheno, 100 seeds of the same strain, and you're trying to get a specific pheno, and you're looking for that one, and it might be a heavy yielder, or it might be a certain pheno, or a certain terpene characteristic. With Trop Cooks, it's not that case. With Trop Cooks, we knew what we had, but it was a new form of cultivation. So you kind of have that game where it's like, okay, if I'm not hunting these new strains or these new packs or looking for these phenos and just trying to test things, I'm also going against this new type of growing, and I'm trying to test that and like find out if this new terra cultivation is even worth it.
Dude, talking about like pheno hunting, I don't think people realize how much of a loss you take as a pheno hunter.
No,
when you're someone that's popping seeds in a room and you're like trying to hunt genetics, that's why I have a lot of respect for some of these companies that do the pheno hunting, because I'm like, oh, they have a 10,000 square foot room right there that they're pheno hunting in. They could fill that with Gorilla Glue 4 and have X amount of dollars of material and process it all and probably sell it all. But like when you're actually pheno hunting, you're like, okay, we're going to take a huge loss until we find this. Hopefully it works out. It's an investment that you're almost guaranteed to take a loss on. And until you find that genetic, then you have to spend years dialing it in and like extracting it. And it's like, okay, now it's 3 years down the road. Now we can make money on this. And it's like, what investor can get behind that? That's why it's all these small cannabis grows. It's up to them to invest in their own industry. Cannot rely on too many of the big guys because they will not understand.
We don't want to hit the playing field with the same cleats and baseball bats and uniforms as every other team. And like, absolutely not. And hunting those phenos, you're kind of trying to prevent that. And a lot of guys will kind of stand on that. They might have, you'll hear this, in quotations, they might have the, let's just say back in the day, the pre-98. They don't have my fucking pre-98. And it's like...
Exactly. They don't have mine.
Like, okay, well, how do you know that? It's like, well, because I hunted a pack of seeds, It's like, oh, okay. It's even better, though, in my opinion, when a grower has the phenos dialed in and you pop a pack. Like, for instance, we popped 4 packs of seeds this year. 4 12-packs. And like, I'm so meticulous about my own home little tiny personal outdoor growing with me and my wife that like I remember everything, and I kind of like I don't like judge breeders or anything, but like you mentally log like who's like if I pop a 12-pack from Masonic and I pop a 12-pack from Bloom, and I grow these 12 plants and I call them out. I don't keep males. I'm not a breeder. I don't pretend to play that game. I don't go on Instagram and like post, I got a frosty male, who wants it? Like I roast them. Yeah. And I have 2 to 3 like variables that will eliminate the first couple of plants on every 12 pack. And like number 1 is dwarfs. I don't keep any dwarfs. So like if I have 12 plants going and one of them's like obviously 2 to 3 inches behind everything.
You're not gonna play that game. But what if the terp's really rare? It's like, no, we don't have time for that.
We wouldn't want to find out. Yeah,
that's some seasoned grower shit. Cause
that's the gift and the curse. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with it. And then so like the next one I'll do is like I'll starch them. I'll hit them with like I'll hit them with a really rich batch of nutrients. I already and a lot of the things that I pheno hunt, I don't do pheno hunts indoors anymore. I only do them outdoors.
That way you can really see, because like you can't judge too many phenos because light leaks are so common.
Yep.
That you're like, we need to put this out in the real world and see like how stable it is, because our rooms, we're trying to create artificial environment that might not be perfectly stable yet, so we need a genetic that can handle
And
shit.
at the end of its flower life, I want to replicate a little stress. And in outdoor circumstances, I get to do it once every year. I start my seeds under the moon, you know.
Absolutely, dude.
We run them from April all the way to October, and that's it. And, you know, in there, right around, you know, June-ish, we take a lot of clones.
Yeah.
And all of those clones hopefully will determine in the future what's going to happen. And they're numbered and labeled, and you go through and you kind of look at all your plants, and you're like, all right, you know, number 6 out of the 4.
It's fire.
Yep.
Let's make sure we keep those clones.
We run it back, and then we run them all indoors. So like this round right now, we did 12. I'll go through the 4 12 packs. One was PBG. That's by Masonic. It's peanut butter dosi gelato is like what it says on the pack. And he gave it to me for free when I bought another pack of seeds from him like a couple years ago. So I didn't even like expect anything crazy out of this. The phenos are all over the place. Like there's not a similar characteristic on every plant. Like, and there was only out of a 12 pack, I don't remember if there was any dwarfs or any like poor response to nutrients, but there's a lot of males. We kept like, I want to say there's like 4 keepers out of a 12 pack female on that one. And then the white papaya from Oni Seed Co. That one had 8, which is really good for a 12 pack.
Yeah, 8 females.
And
That's awesome.
None of these packs are said like feminized, you know? And then the third one is Archive Junior Mints. Not a fucking male, not a dwarf.
Well, Archive
12 for 12. All phenos look the same, bro.
His confidence on
like,
social media doesn't come from nowhere. That level of confidence comes from having someone that he knows what he's got. He knows he tests his shit. His shit looks the best.
And then Bloom did the Stradana pie. It just said SM pie. And Joey's a close friend. Always hooks me up with all of his stuff. I can't recommend his gear enough. He's local to this state. He's from the Western Slope, so like being able to connect with him out there back in the day was really beneficial for us in, you know, the long term, because we get to hunt a lot of the stuff that he drops. I had friends already hunt the SN pie because they hunt indoors. So when it had dropped last year, they all hunted it through the year, and I was like, I'm gonna wait till my outdoor and I'm gonna find my own pheno.
I have so many seeds, bro. It's absurd.
Yeah, you know, it's like Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
it's
absurd.
Ridiculous.
I have like peanut butter breath and thug pug. Like you reminded me that when you said peanut butter gelato pie or whatever it was.
But his like did 10 females out of a 12 pack, 1 dwarf, 1 male, and all the phenos are similar, but like they all do just like gritty resin. You just touch a like slight little end of a sugar leaf and it just rolls off onto your hand. It feels like sand. And for a hash maker, that's like one of the best characteristics you can look for non-solvent washing.
Because with non-solvent, you actually don't want those super like wet, sticky plants because they just don't move through the screens efficiently.
If you're not, dude, so like we figured this out too. Like out in Oklahoma, the water comes out of the taps at 65 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It's no bullshit. It's like bath water.
Okay.
We did our first wash. Like I was like, well, we're not washing today. You know, we have problems that we have to
the water
solve.
sit overnight and cool down.
Yep. And we've got all of our filtration systems set up, and we got our ice maker, and we got 2 reservoirs in our room. We have to fill them all the way full with ice, and we have little float valves on them, drip overnight. And when we got in, we couldn't even keep them below like 55, 50. You know, it was ridiculous. The concrete was warm. So then I had a friend reach out and was like, you know, I heard you guys have these issues out in Oklahoma. You should check out these aquarium chillers. Yeah. And we found these like large scale 1/4 horsepower aquarium chillers that keeps the water at like 39 degrees.
Holy shit.
It's cold as shit. And like you said before, gumming in the bag for really greasy strains we noticed. And that was one of those moments where I was like, all right, we have to go back to the drawing board. Like if we have if the resin is being compromised due to like temperatures of water, in my opinion, that's what it was. Yeah. And when we changed the water temperature and got that much lower, I mean, at this point now, you can run our machines without ice. It's that cold.
That's awesome.
We got insulated jackets on them from Pullaro. We got an insulated jacket on our reservoir from Pullaro.
But you still like the ice for the agitation though, right? Because that helps with that.
Yeah, we use a slight amount of ice because, like, I think it does get a little warm. We use machines, and there's a motor underneath of it that's belt driven.
And any sort of friction, even within water, I mean, it can still do shit.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Did you guys have to switch kind of what strains you were growing then, so that you could be like?
Well, again, we're not growing, so like we're dependent on the growers. I see, here in Oklahoma, or out here in Colorado, on my personal grows, it has gone to that where like I'm really trying to hunt like the one or two.
Like, what makes your art look the best, basically? You're like, I can't just pull a strain because everyone says this is what's hot. I need to pull whatever strain's going to make my work look the best. Yeah. That's like the same way with me with like prep. I'm like, I got to make sure the tubing and everything is like as perfect as can be, so it makes my work look good. So like, even if a strain's popular, you might find this interesting pheno that just runs hash perfectly and just is an incredible terp and everything, but it's like, it's not the hype, but this shit makes my work look the best. It's gonna, like, this is it.
The papaya strains are like one of those ones, like if you see somebody dropping hella papaya strains, you know that like they don't really have to try too hard.
Because it's gonna have terps no matter what.
That
Anything you throw with papaya,
man, like it's a killer. I tip my hat to anybody who is like washing for terpenes over yields. A lot of the papayas aren't the most dominant in yields, but like nobody's smoking hash because of yields. We're smoking hash for the terps.
That's a totally different argument, and there will be. I feel like there will be a market for that in the future, in the next 10 to 15 years. It's because I think everything's moving federal. The money's gonna need to come from somewhere to fix this fucking country. So this is only one thing. They'll need more than just weed, but we're gonna need some money.
If you've seen the fields that I've seen, you would have your thoughts and perspectives would be even more validated.
Yeah,
like it is insane. Some of the people who call us, we get cold calls all day from different people, whether it be like, Seed Suite's one of them. They call us all the time. I mean, probably like once a week, they're calling and asking how they can help us with tracking and manifesting and, metrics and all these things.
Yeah, because people are trying to find a way to get in. They're like, we have this infrastructure. Will this help your company?
We get cold calls from people that are like, hey, we just harvested 2,000 pounds. We need somebody to wash it. We get cold calls. Hey, do you guys do remediation? We just harvested our whole field and it's full of PM. It tests hot for PM. We were told that you guys can do remediation. It's like, no, we don't do that shit. Like, why would you consider? We only work with like 3 grows. They're all indoor grows. They're top quality. Their pounds sell for like $3,000 on the retail side.
Shit, like, dude, that's not bad at all.
Wholesale. So like they're the people that we work with are still on the upper echelon side of like the cannabis market in Oklahoma.
But what you're kind of saying though, there's so much interest in things happening that like we're moving towards it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, you can't, like, it's so hard to like. You're dropping the bucket when you're making high quality hash against the guy who's making like a similar color hash. Might not have the terpenes, might not have all the, like, you'll show up to the game with like 20 different flavors of 5 pounds. This guy will show up with, 200 pounds of 5 flavors. And it's just like, shit, like, how did he get that much?
Yeah.
It's like, well, they grow by the acre. And you start to talk to people, and like, we get calls from people that are like, hey, we have pounds right now, $100 a pound. And we are taking down another 20 acres. I mean, we get messages, these emails, these automated emails, because like the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Association or Authority is like really cool. Like they have a Twitter, they're very responsive. You can call them, but at the same time, early on, they made a few, in my opinion, mistakes. And I think that like they shouldn't have done the public release. Like they just like released everyone's personal information as far as like what you registered your business under, phone number, email wise, on the internet. So like anybody who wanted to get our contact information got it, and you can't change it because that has to be a number that the Oklahoma Marijuana Authority can call. So like it's my personal number, and this shit's ridiculous. Like I had to change it. It's changed. Like I had to change the email. It's changed. Like and it was like the whole first year was just a flood.
Yeah.
And there's still people that have the ability to pass your numbers around. Like you'll have a friend, and your friend will be like, "Oh, I can't wash it," but Rare Extracts will probably wash it.
Yeah.
And that number goes to him, and then that guy, bam.
So how much? So would you say you have to filter through about 85% bullshit for the 15% that actually are people that you're working with?
100%.
Like it's like
100%.
It's just like so much. But what that means is that these markets are going to grow and keep on growing. I just think they are. Did you know this is the first year in history? I think it was 2021 or 20. No, it's 2020 because this year's not over. But a like census report or some shit came back about kids in college. More kids are smoking cannabis now than drinking alcohol.
Oh yeah,
which is insane, which is wild. But was it always maybe like that? But they just didn't
Well,
weren't honest.
I like to even go further down the wormhole and be like, what are they going to be smoking 10, 20 years from now? What are what is the product that's going to carry on? Is it combustion
Vape
of
pens.
flower?
Bro, because here, let me tell you, I'll be honest with you. All the old people that I grew up with who weren't pro weed now have a vape pen in their fucking car or wallet or purse or whatever. Like, my parents are fucking like, they just like smoke vape pens now. All their friends do. So like cannabis is becoming way more like of a household thing because of the vape pen.
Yeah,
which
it
is
is.
like cartridges, like because they're like, oh, it's easy. It's, I
and
don't have
for-
to burn anything. It doesn't stink.
Like parents, we have an employee named Ijah who's awesome. She does a bunch of our tie dyeing for our shirts. Like we don't want to buy pre-tie dyed shirts. We just buy blank canvases and give them to her and pay her. I think we pay like $5 to $7 a shirt, and
That's
it's
dope.
like
So
we,
you just
we
get
don't make.
with rare extracts and you're like, here's some bunch of white rare extract shirts.
We literally make $0 on the shirts. I actually
We don't
think
make
we
money
take
on
like
our
a
shirts
loss,
either.
but I think the best thing about it is that like our employee slash I don't even like referring to people as employees, like kind of like refer them as like independent contractors.
That's how I do it with my
like-
guys. I'm like, you come in when you can. Here's the responsibilities. Just make sure you get this shit done this week. Like,
And she's always puffing a pen and tells us all the time, like, hey, I have a child. Like, I'm busy. I'm on the go. Like, how am I able to be a functioning parent if I have to sit down and use a torch or pack a bowl every time?
I just started smoking a slurper. It's so much work. Like all the little parts you got to clean and put in there.
Yeah, I love the slurpers, but I agree.
Yeah. Well, dude,
So much.
I've like been smoking one for the past week, and it's been. I just like 2 days ago figured out the right temp and everything because I've been getting violently high. It's been terrifying.
It
I'm
changed
like,
the way my lungs
dude,
were working for like a week, dude.
Dude, yeah. Well, actually, I contemplated stop smoking oil again because I was like, oh, I can't smoke oil anymore. I'm not. My tolerance is fucked up or something. I'm like, no, I've just been taking giant hot dabs through a terp slurp. Like, it's now I've dialed it in and I feel great. Like that, what I just smoked from you was so smooth. I didn't even like cough.
Yeah,
It's
this is sour banana runts, and that cut came from Anthony.
I grew this outdoor too.
Yep. So I had the sour papaya, and I had hunted sour papaya seeds from Bloom Seed Co. years ago, out on the western slope on the outdoor, and brought them back, gave them out to a bunch of friends, and a bunch of other people hunted the seeds. So those multiple phenos of sour papaya going around. I think we called ours sour papaya number 6, but tastes identical to it, and he had the banana runts.
Bro, you remember that Goji OG back in the day?
Yeah, the Goji OG and the white grapes, dude. That was my favorite.
It was fun. Those are some, like the white grapes and stuff are old genetics I brought from New York.
Like what was the actual like name that you guys were calling it?
It was like the purple Afghan or something like that. It was like this old cut that like
big fat indica leaves.
Yeah,
wide blades.
It looked like prehistoric. It looked like old genetics. But yeah, I don't even know if I've ever talked about that on here, that actual plant. I'll just briefly tell my listeners real quick. So back when I lived in New York, there was this old guy that grew outdoor every year. In our season, in upstate New York's really short growing season. It's like fucking 6 weeks of flower if you're lucky, maybe 8, because it just is so damp. You just get butter out really easy.
Oh, yeah.
So most people's outdoor just really didn't make it in New York. Well, this guy had this old, like he called it purple Afghan. It was this old genetic he had that flowered in about 6.5 weeks. You could have pretty finished bud, which was nuts. And they were dense, hard, but they were short, stocky plants that were just like quick. And I don't know, it was a great plant. But he had this giant mother plant in his basement that he told everyone that he'd had for 15 plus years. But who knows if that's true. But it filled, I guess, 4 lights. I never saw the plant. I just heard stories about it. And it looked like a tree, like a bonsai tree. It was like huge because he always cut it back to cuts off it because he needed about 200 cuts a year to do his outdoor. He had a large property where he'd put 200 plants on one side of this like hill where the sun hit perfect or whatever, and he would flower them there. So that's why the plant was so big because he was taking so many cuts for so many years. But I guess like the stalk on it was like a tree. It was huge. But who knows? It's all upstate New York myth. Yeah. But it was an incredible plant. It was fun to grow. I lost everything, dude. When my daughter got here, I was like, fuck, I'm not keeping anything. I just threw it all away. Yeah. I was like, years of trading for stuff, like from Green Dot, getting all those genetics from him. And
I got to have lunch with him one day, like a couple weeks ago, and it was a good time. Him, Down with Dirt, Riley.
Oh, nice.
My buddy Chris, Shot by a Cop, and my other buddy who runs Front Row Ag, Leland. He's like, Front Row Ag's a really good nutrient company. It's just like baseline nutrients. So you're like A and you're B and stuff like that.
Dude, Dave is one of the guys that he puts absurd amount of investment into pheno hunting and genetics. And like that's like one of the people who's like, they make hash and stuff, but it's like I feel like people like that are what's going to keep the industry growing and the fun novelty of it because he still gives a fuck about like hunting the genetics.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
invested the money. Whereas I see you can tell which companies you're like, oh, like investor property, they just do this 4 strains that they've gotten out of like metric or whatever someone gave them, and they just crush, which is fine. I'm not hating on that, but I really respect that, like also that connoisseur like side where you're like pheno hunting and putting big investment, then finding the best phenos and breeding them.
We talked like about mushrooms and RSO, like the whole lunch.
Nice.
It was, like, mushrooms and RSO.
Is he? I didn't even know he's into mushrooms. That's cool.
Well, like
man.
my wife found a big thing of oyster mushrooms in our front yard. We had an old stump.
Yeah.
And I put a 400-gallon smart pot on the old stump, and I planted onions in it. I've got
Okay.
like 3 harvests of onions out of it this season. And, because you know how onions are. You just
Dude.
So, anyways, fucking oyster mushrooms popped up, grew on the side of it, and my wife sent me a photo from Oklahoma. I was like, what are these? I was like, those are oyster mushrooms, babe. I was like, where are they?
And you didn't like plant the spore there or anything?
This is what's crazy. When we first moved into the house, my Aunt Tricia sent us 2 logs. They're oyster mushroom logs.
Okay.
And they got dropped like right there at our mailbox, and the mailbox was right there. And I started researching and saying oyster mushrooms drop more spores than almost any other mushroom. They're one of like the top like spreaders of spores. So, like,
yeah.
we never got mushrooms off the logs. Like it said plant them in a dark, wet spot in the yard, so I planted them there, and they never got any. But it could have inoculated that old stump.
Bro, I take mad mushrooms. Like I have had my 6 mushroom pills today because I take a bunch of Paul Stamets, like host defense mushrooms and stuff. Yeah, dude. Did you know that he worked on one of the Star Trek series, Star Trek Discovery? Yeah, and the main doctor in the show is called Paul Stamets. He got to put his name in there. But the reason they brought him on Star Trek to be part of the producers is because the new type of Star Trek ship travels through the mycelial network. It jumps, it can jump through space using like mushroom spores through a separate network that's like multi-dimensional.
Oh, that's
it's fucking
cool.
insane, bro. It's so cool. It came out in 2017. They have like 3 or 4 seasons out, but I'd recommend it to anyone. Star Trek, the Discovery. It's like they use like the mycelial network to travel.
I can't recommend that documentary enough to everybody either. Fantastic Fun Guy.
Oh, Fantastic Fun. Yeah, it's a great one.
It's on Netflix.
Have you ever seen any of the Paul Stamets interviews with Rogan?
Oh yeah, all of his TED Talks, all of his interviews.
TED Talks,
TED Talks where he brought his mom out after he talked about how he cured her cancer. I mean, like, I looked over at my wife and we were like both crying. I was like, God damn.
Bro, that's what my family is like prevalent with cancer and stuff. So that's why actually I started taking a lot of his mushrooms, because like all that information on like preventative and just like kind of healing your lungs, especially if you smoke and stuff. Like, so like I know that smoking anything isn't like great for you, but I'm like, I'll just take these mushrooms and keep living in a life of delusion that I'm fine. I'm gonna be just fine.
Yeah. You know who else I've been learning about? Like, not learning because he's like nobody's teaching me shit, but like I've been self-educating or researching on bro science.
Yeah,
like
love bro science, dude.
Is that Dr. Sebi guy?
Oh yeah, very interesting. You mucus.
Yeah,
you got too much mucus in you.
And he's like big on the sea moss.
Yeah.
And like whenever I was young and I would go down to Jamaica with my buddy Jamaican Mike, everybody down there would eat these things called Irish moss drinks.
Yeah.
And they were even in cans. They had like 2 things that like stood out that I'll never forget. One of them is the Irish moss and the other is the pink ting.
Yeah.
I've seen tings here in the States, like in green bottles. And it's just like a lemon, lime, grapefruit drink. It's like basically like and they're like slightly carbonated, but they're very citric, like forward. Very like acidic, but awesome if you're smoking like some good kush, like sitting there like on a really like thick, coffee, terpy, like chocolatey kush.
That's all just
drink like a nice orange juice or something with it. Like that ting is where it's at. And that a lot of their land race, like the lamb's bread and shit out there, like real thick, like gassy, heavy, like smoke. So we would drink these things called pink tings, and they're like pink grapefruit drinks. And Irish moss is the other one, and it's basically like sea moss mixed with like.
And that sea moss helps metabolize the like your body building up and holding on to these mucuses and stuff from eating certain plants, like from acidic plants or non-alkaline or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I don't know. I smoke a lot of hash and listen about all this shit too.
Yeah, exactly. And I listened to Sway in the morning on Shady 45, and he had Dr. Sebi's like daughter and his son in. apparently this fool had a lot of kids and was having kids like all the way into his 70s.
Oh, bro.
So
I mean, yeah, he's getting wild. I think that dude was like assassinated or some shit, bro.
They said that he smoked herb. Like that was his one thing. The fool, like that's why he didn't like to leave his country at all.
Yeah.
Just like grew and smoked herb all day. I was like, what?
How many vacations have you had to plan accordingly? Being like, can we go there with weed?
Every single one.
Yeah.
There's never been one.
So you can relate with Dr. Sebi.
Dude, I was telling all the people that I work with that shit. They were like, where have you been, Dave? I was like, the only places that I've been, like, where they don't necessarily allow cannabis is Rome and Paris. And that was for my honeymoon. And, we got the Puffco. Like, I don't know, like, everywhere is different. We just went to Hawaii.
You just went to Hawaii?
Yeah.
How are the restrictions with the old pandy?
It wasn't bad. I had a lady, like, yell at me in the grocery store. I have a bad habit of, like, I guess getting too close to people in the line.
Yeah.
She, like, turned around and gave me the eye and was like, sir! I was like,
oh, no.
What? I was like, me? Is it me? Is she talking to me? She's like, could you please take a step back and wait your turn? I was like, yeah. It took, like, one step back. She was like, thank you. I was
Bro,
like, you gotta be kidding me.
my wife
I didn't
had-
say it. I was just like, what?
My wife had a lady grab her in the fucking grocery store the other day. A couple days ago.
Yeah, I saw that post. Delaney showed it to me.
Dude, it was nuts. I was like, I didn't even know what was going on because like Cassie was being so chill with her. But I guess like when we were in the produce section, I know you heard about it from any of my followers too on here. But we were in the produce section and like this lady walked up and she was basically saying like, oh, you eat organic, but then you put this shit in your hair because my wife's hair is colored. But my wife is a cosmetologist. She's had her hair colored for 15 years. And yeah, they got in a little like, I was like, oh, obviously you're being rude. And then I told the lady to go away. But it was like so strange. Like who in the right mind walks up to a stranger and then grabs them? But it honestly reinforced more how much I think the world might be a better place when that generation's gone. But, I don't know. But either way, people are still,
felt that way before.
people are still imprinted with the thoughts of an older generation. So those people will still be around even when we're old people. I just hope it's fewer and farther between.
Can I use your dabber?
Yes, absolutely. I got a clean one too. I just cleaned off right here.
I brought a bunch of them, or I thought I did.
It's all clean.
I
Both
think they're
sides.
in my car. We had a bunch of rare dabbers made, and I brought some for you.
Dude, thank you.
I meant to bring you a lot more stuff, but it's been tough remembering.
Bro, I'm
every
just
time I
happy you
leave
brought
the
you,
lab.
dude. It's so nice to see you. It's been fucking at least 3 years.
Yeah,
At
I always
least.
tell people about our booth we had at the Cannabis Cup back in the day.
I know. It's like, it's so nuts.
Been
Like,
years.
it was such a cool time for about 2 years back in the day when I was also like blowing glass and people were loving the work, but I was also growing and I had this respect from hash makers and growers too that like gave me another dynamic which I felt like made them start buying my glass and respect it too, just because like you guys were so good at what you do, or you specifically are so good at what you do that like my shit would just come out like so nice and it would just it was awesome just like having people over to Sash and like letting homies get little bits here and there to enjoy for themselves and them just being like, dude, this is like some of the craziest hash I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like,
Those were the days.
and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. Like to just get more of like, I don't know, dude, because like we've talked about earlier in the podcast, and I like when people are stoked on what I'm doing. It makes me feel good. So I was like doing the glass, and people were stoked on that. And then I was growing, and you were extracting the hash. People were stoked on that. Oh, I used to love going to your house up in up north and fucking just going in there and like sitting in your kitchen. Then you open that door to the garage, and it was just like you're in there just like experimenting like a mad scientist.
Yeah.
And just talking about
Dexter's
terps
laboratory.
and all these ideas. You're like, what if I do this, or like change my column, or this like this, or yeah, dude. Different time, different extracts. But,
Yeah.
Like I said in the beginning, you were the first dude I ever saw with, like, solventless that, like...
I remember we used to make tacos. We would, like, take rosin, lay it out, press it. Dude, I remember I asked you guys, and Cassie had one already made. I was like, could you guys make me a press?
Yeah.
She, like, went down to the basement, came back, and had this little
Yeah,
hash
a
press.
little hash jar, a little honey jar hash press.
And we were just using that to
Yeah,
press,
that was
like,
fun,
bubble
dude.
hash for a while.
Oh, dude, I kind of miss the Aurora days a bit. I was like, I always tell Cassie, I'm like, what the fuck were we doing before we had a kid? What were we so busy doing before we had a child? Like, it's like nuts. I'm like...
Do you still have the rabbit?
Yeah, he still have the fucking rabbit, dude. He like is living forever. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like
I remember you used to live down in the basement, and you used to have to hide it from the landlord.
yeah, I have to hide the grow, the studio,
Everything.
and the rabbit from the landlord when they came checked it every 2 months.
There's like polyvinyl, like
Yeah.
specific areas
Yeah.
to like hide everything.
Yeah, well, dude, you gotta do what you gotta do. I made it look like it was all just
I'll never forget
like bins and stuff, but it wasn't. It was like a wall of bins and then like black shit behind it to hide it all. I don't know, dude. It was definitely a different time. It's crazy that they used to inspect our house that much, but that's some real Denver shit because people knew like, oh, if you're renting a house, you're probably gonna grow weed. Like it's gonna happen. Like I remember I had that one thing I did with that Alex dude back in the day, and then his house got raided, and I fucking like lost like a piece and all the lights and everything I invested in there. And I wasn't there, luckily, but, you know, he was, like, renting out space to people. He's like, you can put 5 lights here. No, you can put 5 lights here.
No shit.
Yeah, so he was, like, renting space to people that had med cards, but, like, he wasn't doing it legitimate. So it wasn't like I was, like, trapping or anything. It was just more of, like, a situation. Someone's like, yeah, I had 5 lights. It cost this much for rent. I traded him a piece for rent for 3 months. And then, like, a week later, after I set everything up, it was, like, the whole house got raided.
I knew I couldn't live in Denver for 2 reasons. One, there was nowhere for me to grow a bunch of outdoor. And 2, really, like, it was way too expensive. Like I would do the math on everything. I was just like, okay, so I go broke in 6 months.
Dude, it's getting so expensive
savings
here.
That I had, and yeah, like it was a game changer.
Dude, our generation's like not gonna be buying houses. They're gonna
That's
be
what
renters.
everybody says.
It's well, I've my employees. One of them's like 31, like. And, like, shit's not easy, dude. Like, even if you worked your ass off, like, some people still get dealt a shitty hand, even if they're hardworking, good people.
I got
It's just
lucky,
what it
dude.
is. That's what I tell people, too. I got lucky, too. I got lucky. I started glassblowing when I did. I got lucky that all my time was focused on recyclers, and that ended up being a popular item a few years later. Like, there's a bunch of shit. I put my, you know, cards in the right place or my pawns in the right place or whatever where it worked out. I'm lucky. Because, like, I tell people, it's not just hard work. Like, there has to be some luck. Because I know good people that work super hard, they're in a bad spot right now.
Oh yeah.
And it's not because they gambled or anything. It's because it's just what it is.
Dude, I think I keep always going back to like doing what I love and I think that has a lot to do with like me being happy, at least in the regards of sustainability.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, mental sustainability. Like I got in the electrical trade at 17, right out of high school. I went to night school. I'd work all day. I'd have to be at the shop by 6:30 and have everything ready for the van. My journeyman would show up at 7. We'd have to be out of there by 7:15, 7:30. You get to the job at 8. And like, depending on like, you know, as I grew and graduated from the program, got my own van, my boss was really cool and he pulled me aside and was like, hey, no one's going to tell you this shit. Nobody wants it. And like the mentality where I'm from in Florida is nobody wants to see you succeed. That's like, they tell you that shit. Like, unions don't want to see you succeed. Nobody.
Bro, that's
wants
upstate
to
New
see
York.
you
That might be the
succeed.
East Coast, bro.
And like, there was this mentality of when he pulled me aside and was like, listen, I'm going to tell you something that you need to know and you need to do. You've been working here for over 4 years. You only need 4 years of POI to buy a house.
Yeah.
You're getting paid this much. You have your own van. You have your own card. You're a full-fledged member of this team. Go buy a house. And I was like, it's not that easy, you know. And he was like, it is. You'll be very surprised. And when I went and applied for a house, they were giving it to anybody who could chew bubble gum. You know, this was before the crisis.
Yep.
I bought my house.
I remember that.
Yeah, I bought my house at the end of 2007. All of 2008.
2008. Oh fuck.
All of 2008 goes by, and I keep hearing these like, it's like, you know, when a tsunami recedes, and like you don't see anything, you just know the shore has never been this weird before.
Yeah.
That was what it felt like. I'd wake up every morning, and I had watched Matt Lauer every single morning at like 6 a.m. for years, and he never was this shook. And he started 2008 talking like this hella weird shit about like economic crisis, depressions, recessions. These are all words I had never heard before. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And 2009 hit, and my boss, you know, pulled me aside and was like, hey, you know, I know you bought your house. I know you fucking blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's like, but you're the highest paid youngest person here. You're 23 years old, and you're making this much money. You're going to be the first we got to let go. And I was like, cool, so when you let me go? And he's like, that's what's happening right now. This
Oh
is what's
my
happening.
God.
And I was like, fuck.
That sucks.
And I remember like, I was like, how do I apply for unemployment? And he was like, oh, I don't know. I've never had to. I was like, shit. So like, I worked there for 6.5 years. I got laid off / fired when the recession hit. You know, it's obvious you're not gonna come back. Like,
Dude,
more
my
and
parents-
more people just getting fired.
I mean, a lot of people's parents too is the reason they don't have retirements now. The reason that they're 70 and they're struggling because they lost it all in 2008 or some shit happened. Like,
well, like for me, luckily, the one thing about being an electrician and like coming from a place like Florida where it was like very illegal.
yeah,
As soon as I got in the electrical trade, I had like 2 friends that were like, "Hey, that means you could wire a grow light in my closet." And I was like, yeah, I mean, yes, it does. I can do that. And I started doing it more and more and wiring more grow houses. So by the time the recession hit, I like for a solid year kept watching all my homies rake in money from like, and friends coming, they would take their money from their grow houses in Florida and like buy stuff from California. And all these Cali dudes started showing up more and more. And I remember asking, like, you know, can I come see y'all's place out in California? Like, I want to go on vacation out there.
Yeah.
I want to see y'all's stuff. So, like, took a vacation out there, saw it. And just like you said, like, you see it and you're like, oh, I could do this better. Like, I could do this. And like, you get so deep that, like, you don't think about anything else. And at that moment in time, the recession hit. Everyone's freaking out. And, like, I saw other people not freaking out a bit. Doing the opposite of freaking out. Like, burying holes and putting money in it and shit. And I was like, okay. Cannabis seems to be doing okay here, and I smoke all day, every day. Like, I love cannabis, like you said. All of my vacations in the electrical trade were all to Amsterdam and Jamaica.
That's so
went
cool,
to Amsterdam twice and Jamaica twice. Like, I only went to smoke weed everywhere. It was what I loved to do, and I just accepted it. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna grow weed. I told my dad. My dad was like, you gotta go to Colorado and meet your Uncle Joe.
yeah.
Came to Colorado. My uncle was breeding on this website called IC Mag, and he was on like Overgrow and all these other ones.
Oh, some
That had
old
been
names
shut down
there,
in the
bro.
past. Yep. And he was like, "This is it. What it is."
I was downloading LimeWire, just looking at the.
And he told me, he goes, "You got to choose in this cannabis thing. You have to choose. You can be a jack of all trades, but no one will respect you. What you have to do is pick out what you want to do."
And be real fucking good
He
at
goes,
it.
"Do you want to make great seeds? Do you want to make great hash? Do you want to grow for people? Do you want to blow?"
It's a big
He's
sacrifice
like,
too
"Choose
when you're
what-"
young.
Yeah,
You
and I
want
was
to try
like,
all the different things.
yeah. So like for a solid couple of years, that's exactly what I did. I grew indoor. I grew outdoor. I built a shed for
And
indoor.
you're
I
like,
built,
okay, we're not making enough money to keep surviving. We have to really focus on one thing.
and it was outdoor.
This is honestly my story with the RBR. It was like
Yeah.
I was making like 30 different designs at one point, and shops were buying one of each. Yeah, I mean, dude, you own pieces that people don't even know I make that. They just know me as the guy that makes RBRs. But like a lot of the I bought this house, my wife's car, and all these things before I ever made an RBR.
Dude.
Like the RBR came after all this, but like it's been a big sacrifice just to focus on one thing. But I know like I keep getting them better and better somehow. They keep getting more refined and like nicer and like function and everything. And
It's
also,
like Clapton
too-
on the guitar, you know?
bro, but
Like,
here's the thing for is like with a company thing though. I like that though. I appreciate that. Is that if you design something or make a really good hash and you just do one small batch and everyone's like that was great, I want more, and you hyped it up for months and they're like, no, I'm not going to do anymore. That's not fair to the customer base, and you're not going to build a company with consistency that people feel safe investing in. If you I just did that one time. You have to be consistent for people to feel comfortable to invest money in it, so they know that in 5 years you're still going to be doing things, and wasn't like a temporary fling. So like with the RBR, like I really focused on it, and now like people recognize it just like a fucking Nike symbol. Like even if they don't like them, it's embedded in their brain. They know what it is, and if someone else makes something that looks exactly like it, they know like. Even if, here's the thing.
it puts a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but I have seen it, and I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, well, it's a simple design, and you gotta
Cringe.
expect people to,
Yeah.
it's just what it is. And if it's popular, and if my drops are selling out, and people can't get the glass, then there's money left on the table. And if that's just is what it is. As long as the person doesn't, there's only one person I'm not really cool with because he's like talked shit and done it. But as long as someone's like, if they stay on their side of the fucking playground and I stay on mine and they're making their money and they're not, I don't hear anything bad coming out of their mouth about me, I don't give a fuck.
I've got a question. Do you ever have owners of like glass shops ask you like, could you do this? And it's like not even anywhere near what you do.
Yeah.
They're just like, I would like you to be exactly like this guy. Or make your work look like this. Could you do
Back in the day,
this?
yes.
It's like,
Back in the day, that happened a bunch when I was first getting into wholesale because I was saying yes to everything. So they were like, we would like an order that's like this. And I'd be like, okay, that really what I do. I'll figure it out.
Yep.
But I didn't want to miss an opportunity because I'm like, I'm lucky I'm even paying my bills with this right now.
That's how
I
we
need to be
feel
grateful and
a lot
work
of the
my
times.
ass off.
Like people
Yeah.
will ask us to make a certain kind of hash, and it's like, man, we don't really make much shatter, or like
Yeah.
the whole diamond craze. You know, it's like we like a really tasty dab. Like
Yeah.
we don't want like just a mass amount of THC. And like if you
Yeah.
grow diamonds really big for gramming up, you end up having to break a lot of them apart to get
Heck,
an even
almost
gram.
all of
Like
them. Almost all of them. Unless you're selling like fucking eighth jars, which rarely most customers aren't buying. They're too expensive.
dude, there's like maybe 3 or 4 guys who are like, I would buy a 1 ounce stone. Like I would
Yeah.
come up there with $500 and buy a 1 ounce
But
stone.
$500
like,
and all that work is not worth. It's just not. It's not worth.
I think
all
they're
that.
doing themselves a disservice because it's like I would pay to have that hype jar as opposed to like paying less to have even tasty dabs of a bunch of different strains.
Yeah.
You know, and like it's cool. Like don't get me wrong. Like chemistry is cool as shit. Like
Oh,
it's really
definitely.
cool to play around in the labs with like these secondary solvents like hexane and pentane, and dick around. But like I'm more about flavor. It goes back again to the terps. Like what? Like do I want to make lots of jams like for my rosin? Not really, because I have to put it in heat.
Heat again,
and like
yep.
it doesn't change the taste to a poor way. It doesn't lose terps, but it just is more work. And I feel like I can do the same with the cold batter.
Bro, it's like, and people might not taste those variants and all the different types of hash textures you can make with one strain, but if you smoke hash all day and are used to certain flavor, you can really point out like, oh, that was reheated to create this consistency, or oh, okay, this was, they didn't have a clean water source, so I can taste the water.
And I'll still do it. We'll make jams. But
Yeah.
if you notice
Well, I
us
still
make
buy it
jams,
just because I forget to put the hash in the fridge.
we're not making jams because we were like, okay, let's spend a bunch more time altering this hash. Generally, it's because an owner is like, hey, can you make
Requesting it.
jam? It's like, yes,
This is
sir.
what my customers want.
We're
They saw an
thankful.
Instagram post. They want a bunch of this jam. No, I get that, dude. But yeah, that's got to be tough too, being in the concentrate industry, especially in a legal market, because it's so new that maybe some of the owners of these things aren't super educated yet, and they're asking for things. It's like, that's going to cost more, right? You're going to have to sell those grams for, now they were 55, now you're going to have to sell them for 65.
We're really privileged, like in the regard of a lot of the people we work with now. Like a lot of the owners are all cool. They give us like creative freedom, but like more so when I was like in this market here, like it would be like every other month, like, hey, did you see this guy's Instagram? And you'd be having a coffee with one of your friends going over to their grow to check it out for the upcoming process.
Now you have to think about this dude all day and why
Or
people are
like,
hyped up on that and how am I going to get that consistency. Or
when
what-
people sat me down and were like, hey, you got to stop making BHO, you need to just like make rosin now for us. And I was like, but I like making BHO and I have people that want it. Like,
I have all this equipment I've accumulated over the last 5 years.
can we do a
Like,
slow transition? It's like, no, like if you don't do it, we're going to go to somebody else. And it's like, well, fuck, man, I guess like you're probably going to have to go to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's how that one's going to work out. And then like I slowly, dude, like, there was a 1 and a 2 for me, like when it came to people and receiving things. Like if we're in a business and we're in a legal market and you already have a bunch of our diamonds or a bunch of our batter on the shelves, it behooves me to listen to you.
Yeah.
There's an incorporated relationship that
Yeah.
goes together.
where you're like, okay, I
But,
have
like,
to see what you're saying.
Out here, there was just this like chase of hype. Like every other, like it'd be like, hey man, can you make rosin? Hey man, can you make rosin diamonds? Hey man, can like you ever do distillate? And it's like fucking shit. Like,
Dude,
how much equipment do I have to buy to just like be like another guy
Dude,
on
one thing
Instagram?
like with me is like kind of like on that same kind of like thread right there. Why I don't have like a lot of friends out here and I don't like fucking hang out with anyone. Like you'll never see me anywhere. Not just because I have a kid, but also too because like I don't know, man. I just feel like a lot of people, they don't have, at least they're not in a point in their life where they're ready to like build a relationship with like loyalty and be a team.
Dude.
And I'm like, if people don't have that thought in the back of their head, because me, what if I'm like, I'm gonna hang out with this person? Okay, that means I'm planting the seed, and we're gonna see if we can build this trust and loyalty thing where we can all, find success as a team. And not just one, if I'm having a tough year but you're crushing, let's help each other.
Yeah, mutually
Like,
accomplish a common
exactly. It's like we need to be in a tribe in order to, together, fast we go alone, together we go far, whatever the saying is. Like you can run really fast, really
It's
far,
true.
but like if you want to go like really far and survive for many years, you're going to need a team around you. So yeah, like that's why I don't really fuck with them because most of the people I've met here, I'd have to. The only people I've actually really liked that I've met here are people that don't know I blow glass. They're like
Right.
another parent or like the guy at the gas station. And I'm just some fucking bearded dude that he thinks works at Subway or some shit. Because most of the people I meet here have like an intent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, immediately, that's fine. Like I have an intent too. Like with things, of course we all do. But like sometimes it's in a way where we can't get past like a certain point where there'll ever be any sort of loyalty or trust because they'll move on to the next goal. They're like, oh, I was just a stepping stone.
And I learned a lot, like, from it, from those people.
Definitely.
Like, you kind of learn when to put the guard up and when not to, and how to embrace those new relationships correctly.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, how the last one was embraced. And, like, I always try to find out what I did wrong, even if I didn't do something wrong. It's like, maybe I don't need to be, like, and like you said, it's like, why I don't fuck with people as much.
It's
like,
so
maybe
hard
that's
when
what
you're
I was
friends
doing
with
wrong.
someone too,
Maybe
or, like-
I was, like, trying to put too many balls in the triangle.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't behoove me to have 20 good relationships. It behooves me to have 5 great ones. And I've learned that now. Like, and it took me a while to figure that out. Even with my team, like, I have to shout them out. Like, Greg is my partner in Rare Extracts. It was a pretty cool way that we got, like, you know, working together. And Greg brought Ivan on, and Ivan is like what I would consider to be my apprentice.
That's what everyone calls me when they read my name.
Ivan,
Yeah.
I can't
or
pronounce.
Ivan
Yeah,
or
Ivan.
Ivan or Ivan, yeah.
We have a company out there. There's like a bunch of different. I'll tell you some jokes later because like you like the Nordic stuff.
Yeah.
But there's like a bunch of different places that have names that you can pronounce differently with like different, you know, accents, and they sound really funny.
That's what we do.
But yeah, Ivan and Greg have helped me out drastically, and I hope that Ivan will eventually know everything I know about hash making. He's on his way there for sure.
Yeah, I want my guys to get there too. Like
I'm not in any rush, and that's the one thing I try to like, you know, make everybody know is like, hey,
dude, like I feel like with what you're doing, like there's like this is one thing I've always been envious of people as growers and hash makers is that I feel like people always smoke weed and smoke hash. Like I feel like there's always gonna be room for that. But sometimes I get nervous as a glass artist because it's like, you know, you're only cool for so long. You know, that's why I'm trying to build a company so that people are like, oh, I just like this brand. Like I like to drive Ford. I drive Ford, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Not saying I drive a Ford, but that's just an example I'm using. So I'm trying to create a brand to have longevity so I can continue to like, you know, when my daughter's 10, buy her some rollerblades and shit, you know, simple things. But yeah.
We always had a hard time getting good hash. So like, the way we always tell each other, like Ivan and Greg have heard me say this a lot, is like, I really want to have the best hash for the best price. Like I don't want to have cheap hash. Like I don't want to have like affordable hash. I want to have the best hash for the best price. Yeah. I want that to be known. Like I want people to be attracted to it. Like, hey, I drink, like for instance, I collect bourbon. So like I use bourbon analogies a lot. There's many good bourbons. There's many great bourbons. There's a lot more poor bourbons.
Yeah.
And like you can instill your place in the market in being a good bourbon for around the price point of like, you know, $20 to $30 a bottle, or what people consider a great bourbon, which is like, you know, the $100 bottles. And anything above that is where it starts to get crazy. And like, we don't want our hash to be in that kind of a realm.
We want it to be
like
accessible.
In between, like
you want
in
people
that
to still
$50
smoke
to $30. If we were a bourbon company, yeah, we would like to be like a Old Forester, not a Jack Daniels, you know, something that's unique, that's been independently owned. We haven't ever taken any loans. And like, I'll go back to that too, like with how Greg got in. Greg was the only person outside of like a few friends of mine who had like actually shown faith in me and what I do in my process.
Yeah.
Like when it came to, hey, I have a license, I need a building, I need help getting a building. I also need to be a husband in Colorado for 2 weeks out of each month. I really need a partner. And I don't know how I'm going to do this by myself. Greg was like, well, shit. Can I be the partner? Can I help?
Yeah.
He's like, I've smoked your hash. I've loved the hash. You've made hash out of the garden that I work at. He worked at a garden, and he was looking for a place in ownership in the industry. And he's very educated, smart guy, you know, honest, and loyal. Like those are like honesty and loyalty, dude. Like I don't need to be.
I'll pick that over skill any day.
I'll pick that over respect.
I'll
pick that shit over almost anything. Like I want honest. You tell me the truth, even if it hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
And that's where honesty jumps just a little bit over respect, in my opinion. It's like, don't respect my emotions and how I'm going to react much more than the truth. Like the truth is so valuable, like at every point of the turn.
Well, because we're such temporary creatures, humans, we don't live that long. So like, if there's a lot of time wasted, it's like viscerally painful for someone that's self-aware of their life. It's like, dude, like we could have avoided so much shit if you just told me that. Like, cause we didn't have to do all this.
And like, dude, Greg's a fucking ace. Like, very loyal, very honest, and not loyal to me, loyal to the brand. Like, he understands that, like, neither me nor him are more important than Rare Extracts. And our families are number one, and Rare Extracts is number two. So, like, me and him come behind that. Like, our families, and it sounds weird that I say that way, but, like, when we got together, both of us were very work-oriented people. That one was a ripper.
That Tropicana was fire, dude.
Yeah,
you know, that citrus strip just like hit me. I was like, whoa.
I call it like morning coffee. I can only smoke it in the mornings.
Holy cow. That was really good. Really super smooth. God, it's so nice smoking good rosin, dude. It's just noticeably smoother. I swear.
It's really nice to be able to like get some from our own garden and then have like the equivalent from my workplace. I don't think many people have that either. Like me and Greg both have our own little 4x8 tents at our house. We're always popping our own seeds at our house. I grow in my little greenhouse in my backyard. It's not a job. It's not a business. It's a lifestyle. Like this. It's a lifestyle, and it's
also like I feel like it's like little investments too in your life. It's like, what if I find some like crazy keeper out of my little tent that I was just doing for fun because I love to have.
Dude, everyone gets it. Yeah, that's another thing I don't get with like this whole. If we're gonna talk new generation of cannabis, like not sharing packs, bro. Like back in the day, if you found a keeper,
packs away, no one wants them. I have like hundreds of packs of rare seeds.
I sprout these 12 packs every year in my greenhouse to give them away to my friends. Like my one friend grows plum wine, my other friend grows purple papaya punch, which is purple punch by papaya. This Trop Cookies was grown by me, but the cut was given back to me by Anthony, Organic Garden Dog, who I gave the cut to initially. And like this Deluxe Sherb, Anthony shares that cut with me. I mean, giving it out to anybody else, but that's not because I wouldn't. It's because no one's asked. Like we're all in a community, and if we find a keeper, it's like, you have to get this, bro. Like, you got to try this. This is such a good plant.
Dude, no, what I was, like, missing the other day was, like, those Friday night sessions when you'd bring over the sacred sweets and then those syrups. Yeah. Bro, we got one of my friends, like, and you weren't, because after everyone left is when he was super high because, like, the syrup hit him. But, like, he drank one of those 1,000 milligram ones. Like, we all, like, I don't know if...
Dude, I miss Nick a lot. Like, I don't know what happened to him. I feel bad, too, because, like, I need to address this publicly because I was an asshole, and I apologized to him because I didn't know he changed his name.
Yeah.
And he changed his Instagram name to Diamond something. And like this, like I saw it and I was like, how am I following this page? And this page has all these followers. I was like, you can't just change your name. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And like he messaged me and was like, dude, it's Nick, Sacred Sweets. I was like, oh shit, he changed his name. So like, I apologize for being a dick to him. I apologize to him privately, but I know it's a public comment.
Bro. Dude, like, I've, like, there's been so many times over the past actually, since my daughter got here, I've, like, I don't even, like, I don't know, it's like, I don't put any energy into, like, any sort of, like, argument or confrontation with anyone because it's such a handful with a kid. I'm like, all the energy goes there for
You just had a child, too.
Yeah, it's, like, he just did, too?
Yeah, I believe they had a child.
That's, dude, so he's not doing Sacred Sweets anymore or anything like that? He just...
No, I believe that he moved out to California. I don't even, know where he went or what's going on.
It's crazy the characters that have come and gone in this industry over the last, 8 years.
People will laugh because I made a post one day that was like, I put all my RSO. I have this big quartz cavern.
Yeah.
And I put all my RSO syringes in a cup, and I sit them in the cavern. And I... pseudo.
Dude, you're giving it the energy, bro.
Yeah. And that's something I learned out here in Colorado. Like all my uncle and all these old school hippies are like, you can charge your medicines with stones. Like you can put your stones and like you go in their grows and there'd be these cool gemstones everywhere and shit. And just be like, these wooks are super cool.
You can put stones underneath like trees and plants and it actually helps them grow. There's something specifically that happens with quartz.
Yeah.
That like, it might be some sort of like electromagnetism or some sort of like transfer of energy, who knows? But there's something that like putting quartz underneath plants, like it does something. Just like putting a South Pole magnet under a plant gives it a higher frequency to find the South Pole to grow its roots down.
Oh, shit.
It like makes the plant grow roots harder down. It's like a root like steroid, putting a magnet under the plant with the South Pole facing,
that
down.
makes a lot of sense.
So it's like, oh, this is the way you grow. You grow towards the South Pole, you go down.
What was I going to say? To that, Nick was the first person that I saw charging his edibles. He would take the water that he made those gummies with and charge it with different gemstones. And like he would say on there, it'd be like orange juice, Merkaba gummy charged with citrine stones.
I love that they were
and that
Merkaba
shit
too.
stood out like a motherfucker, dude. And I remember the first Cannabis Cup that I entered in, which I helped Fox get that first place in,
Yeah.
and Schumit used that for his banana pudding bar, which he got first place with. That event was the event that he entered those pudding pops with Ken Wall and Jibs, THC concentrates. That was like, for our THC, it was like THE, Trichome Heavy Extracts. Sorry about that. That's the company name. Yeah, dude. So I'm such a psycho that I still have like packaging from Sacred Sweets. I have all this kind of weird shit. Like I have syrups.
I found one of his old syrups in my mini fridge when we were unloading the basement like a year ago. Like, 'cause we were like moving stuff to the storage unit, because we never really fully unpacked, just put it in the basement.
Dude, I'm a license owner now, and like I'll be goddamned if that stuff doesn't inspire me.
Yeah, it's fucking cool, dude. Okay, sweet. Yeah, dude. I don't know. Like, I just kind of miss those times though, because like I feel like I was just like, I don't know. I don't remember much of it because I was so stoned, but I just miss kind of like some of that freedom, because now I'm like such a homebody, hardworking. Like, I was always working, but like I'd be like sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking go do this. But now it's like, oh, I gotta get this done before the kid gets home. It's nuts. But it's also a blessing too, because like I'm telling you, dude, I work so much harder and it's so much happier now than I used to be too.
Yeah.
Because I used to worry so much about acceptance with people that it'd ruin my day.
We went to every event because of that. You know, every secret sesh, every competition. Like, I truly cared. I got really hemmed up with worrying about everybody else, and I lost focus of what the brand was about, and that was making very good medicine and very good products to smell and vape, and that's what we've gone back to in Oklahoma, and that's all that we try to focus on.
That's gotta be fun now. Because when a new place legalizes, you're almost getting another like taste of like going back in time, to like, oh, like people are gonna
make the
like,
same mistake again.
Yeah, but no, I don't know. I don't think people know how much of like an investment is for someone to like you to work, like go there a couple times a month and do everything you're doing. There's so many things behind the scenes you could never even tell everybody that you've had to deal with just to get to where you're getting. And a lot of people have this misconception that, oh, if you like make hash, like you're rich, or oh, if you blow glass, like you're rich. It's like you can get there, but don't assume. A lot of people that have like make hash or do these companies, if they do it right, they're probably have a really thin profit margin. Because to make a product you can actually sell to people in stores and put the effort you want to put in, it's tough, because it takes time and equipment, and time is the most expensive thing.
I have friends that are electricians that never left the trade that are doing very well. That have like their own offshore boats, big ass RVs, nice houses down on the water.
They just stuck with it, just kept doing that.
Living in Jacksonville, and you know, they always shout at me and are like, "Hey, dude, when you coming back? When's that little weed bullshit gonna fizzle out?" And it's like, it's not gonna, because I love what I'm doing.
That's what I was about to say. Like, you probably wouldn't have been happy right now if you just kept doing electrical work.
I was not happy doing it.
I think that being like a trailblazer and working in an industry that's new and upcoming, this is one of the last American dream industries. Like, besides like, you know, some of the weird like military stuff that we're building, but as far as like being people that just you could work, you know, with your hands and create something and sell it to people and like be proud of it. That's like, you know, and then provide for your family. That's a huge thing. Yeah. You know, especially you don't have to go to school. I mean, it helps. All those things will help. Like where my friends are in New York, they're all like going to Syracuse University now for a cannabis program, because New York's
Amsterdam, man.
Yeah, New York's about to pop off, I guess, with like legal weed and shit.
We get emails from people saying that exact thing. I'm going to school, and when I graduate, can I come tour your facility or get a job with you guys? And
it's nuts. And I'm
like,
and I think that like one thing I'm doing with Bear Mountain Studios is making like the RBR and trying to establish like core like foundational pieces that people will recognize and remember, is that when that happens, I hope that I have a big enough setup, I have enough people on the team that I can like provide glass for all these people in all these different states that are new smokers that are like, oh, what do you like? Like, some people are going to like a mini tube, some people want a recycler, some want a variety, maybe they want one of everything. You know what I mean? But I want to be one of those staple pieces that people think of like as a daily driver for the recycler category specifically. Because like when I used to think about pipes, they're like, okay, I got my Toro, I got my Sovereignty. They're just like these staples back in the day you'd have in your collection that were awesome. I want the RBR from Bear Mountain Studios to be in the recycler category, because I don't think there's a daily driver recycler yet that's out there consistent enough, you know, that isn't made in China. Like, obviously there's a lot of guys that make recyclers, but most people make them are pretty limited. Maybe they made 10. You know, that doesn't mean that everyone's getting one. That means that a very small group, and sometimes one person owns 3 of them because he just loves that piece. So I want something that people can actually see, remember, and that's accessible. And that's what price range too is tough with glass. Like, majority of glass they sell is like $500 to $800, which isn't cheap, but it's also not the most expensive either. like my Mycology stuff's more than that, but I mostly sell clear glass. I only post like maybe 10% of what I make on Instagram. I don't post everything I make. I make a lot of glass because I'm trying to get people like remembering it, recognizing it. I want it to be like, you know, like I said, part of people's daily like ritual and smoking thing, because it was always such a big part of my life. When I get home from a shitty day at work, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fuck it. Or even a good day, I'm hyped up and having fun.
Huge part.
Yeah.
Even in the mornings, you know.
Fuck, dude. This is fun, man. Appreciate you coming here and talking to me on the episode. I'm excited to hang out with you for a little bit after.
Yeah.
Talk
dude.
some more. Cause,
I know. We can talk all day.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
It's a problem. Yeah, dude. Now I still have some more hash to try. But I don't want to give my producer too much to edit and make it too long of an episode because they're hard to upload as they get bigger.
Absolutely.
But yeah, please plug your Instagram and stuff so people can check it out.
Yeah, it's at Rare Extracts, spelt with one E, so there's no E in extracts, RAREXTRACTS, and spelt that way on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram. We don't have a TikTok or a Snapchat or any of that shit, but we do have
Yeah.
We probably get one. My partner Greg
I don't
has
have
one,
either.
Scary Greg on TikTok. If you want to check out some of our videos from inside the lab, he posts some pretty cool ones.
Oh, that's cool.
It's hard for me to manage them.
Oh, yeah, dude. Well, I mean,
We're
dude,
balancing.
social media is like a whole nother job. It really is. And if you spend too much time on their DM and then you like wasted a whole day and you're like, fuck, I didn't get what I needed to get done today.
Yeah, there's
You
the
know?
Cowboy Cup coming up in Oklahoma this December. We'll be
Oh.
walking around there. If you see us,
Cowboy
say
Cup.
what's up. Yeah,
Fuck yeah, dude.
I think that'll probably. I think that's all we got going on. Do some pop-ups in November. We got a toy machine pop-up with Clint Walker at the block.
That's fucking sick,
It's the
bro.
Green Block in
That's fucking
Oklahoma City.
And
We'll be
like,
there.
it's so cool. I love how the skateboarding industry's always been so pro cannabis.
Yeah,
it's
dude,
like
Clint's awesome. We love
I'm like,
Clint.
I can't wait for like some of these guys to fucking, I don't know, start collecting more glass.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let me hook you up with an RBR, bro.
Yeah,
Smoke it.
yeah, we got to work something out.
Dude, that'd be sick. Yeah, he's a fucking shredder. Well, sweet. Well, appreciate you again, man. And thanks to everybody who watched today's episode. Don't forget to check out bmsglass.com. Sign up for that newsletter so you stay up to date on all of our stuff. Sunday sale today. Thank you, Ijah, for traveling down here and always taking care of us and producing these episodes. He has to watch them twice, guys. You know, it's a lot. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. This is the What's Up, Everybody podcast, episode 74. Good to be back.